In August of 2008, a bond hearing was set. Your co-defendant, Mr. Helms, was denied because the courts felt that Mr. Helms was a flight risk. Your attorney, Mr. Marty Yavorsic, argued that you
Yes.
weren't
This call is originating from an Ohio correctional facility and may be recorded and monitored.
a flight risk because you had a sister that you can go back home and live with, and you had a daughter that was waiting on you, and the judge agreed with Mr. Yavorsic and set bail at $150,000. Do you feel that that was a fair amount?
Um, I didn't really feel like it was a fair amount, but considering how much my co-defendant was, of course it was. But I just felt like could have been a little bit less, but it was severe charges, so I understood.
So how much was the co-defendant's bail?
I believe his was like either a $500,000 or $1 million. It was a lot.
Okay.
It was a lot.
Okay. Now during the start of this, did any of Mr. Kaluska's family attend any of the hearings?
I believe they did, but I also did not pay attention to my surroundings. I was nervous, very uncomfortable, so I'm pretty sure they attended. Somebody attended, at least one of them, especially when we got sentenced.
Okay, well, let me rephrase. I said Kaluska is Kaluza, Mr. Kaluza, my fault. Yeah, I want to get his name right. I don't want to mess his name up. Okay, now you said one of the family members did attend during the sentencing, right?
Yes, I'm sure they did because he was right beside me he was within arm's reach at our actual sentencing hearing.
Mr. Kaluza or your co-defendant?
Both.
Okay. So, did you ever look his way at Mr. Kaluza's way or not?
Yes, I looked his way when they asked if there was anything I had to say, but they told me, because I went to turn to basically apologize to the community and to him, but they basically told me I couldn't look at him, so I continued on with what I had to say towards the judge.
Okay. And do you know that Mr. Kaluza at that point accepted your apology, or he remained quiet, or what?
He remained quiet, and just every time the judge would say like my charge and how much time he was giving me, he just relieved a sigh of just yes, just excited that something was being done. Mm-hmm. So at that time, he had not forgiven me.
Okay. Now, Teran, it is Teran, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, Teran Helms. What type of man was he back then?
Well, he was caring, he was giving, and he was fun. Mm-hmm. And he definitely did take pride in his daughter's life. He was a father, a new father, so he took pride in just trying to learn how to be one.
Okay. Now, when you say he was a new father, was he the father to your daughter or another child?
To another child.
Okay. Do you blame Mr. Helms or hold him at fault for putting you in this situation?
Yes, I do. Not 100%, because like I often say during this interview, it's like I take responsibility for, showing up. But I definitely do blame him because, of course, Mr. Kaluza didn't have to get hurt.
Exactly. At all, especially for an alleged $300. And I still find that hard to believe that Mr. Kaluza was taking $300 dropped to the bank. I still find that hard to believe.
I know.
Now, with that being said, whoever said it was $300, was it Mr. Kaluza that said it was $300, or was it your co-defendant that said it was $300?
Neither. I just found out it was $306 from the newspaper. I never knew how much the amount was because, like I've stated, I never received anything. So I never knew exactly how much. I just know what the media has stated. What our paperwork stated, that was the amount that was taken. So I can't really 100% verify it because I never had hands on any of it. I never saw it, and I never knew how much it was actually. I just knew how much it was supposed to be.
Okay. Do you have any communication at all with Mr. Helms today?
I used to.
Okay. What was that communication like?
It was strained at sometimes because sometimes I just get in my head about this time. You know, sometimes I just have those emotions because of the love I have for him. You know, it's nostalgic at times, and just sometimes it just makes me extremely sad. You know, because it's like, wow, after all this time, you know what I mean? We're still here, we're still locked up, and it's just, we shouldn't even be locked up. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shouldn't even be the way we correspond. This shouldn't even be our life, but it is. So I go back and forth with that. You know, I've gone through those hate letters towards him and, you know, just angry, but not really know what to do with that anger. And I had to really take some time to just work on self and just try to forgive, you know, and I have forgiven him, but I haven't forgot about it because I wake up every day in this place.
Exactly. Now, Kimberly Helms is the mother of Tyrone Helms. Am I correct?
Yes, you are.
Kimberly Helms used to work at the Kentucky Fried Chicken and was also managed by Mr. Kaluza.
This call is originating from an Ohio correctional facility and may be recorded and monitored.
Did you have any knowledge of this beforehand?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Mr. Kaluza testified that Kimberly Helms knew the deposit procedures, but she was fired the prior spring for theft. Did you also know that?
No, I did not know why she was terminated from KFC.
Okay. To your knowledge, did Miss Kimberly Helms share information with her son, Tyrone Helms, about the deposit procedures?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you say yes, were you around or did he tell you that she shared information with him?
He told me she shared information.
Okay. Now, my thing with it is, okay, did they try to, after they found out about this, did they try to charge Miss Kimberly Helms with anything?
I don't believe they tried to charge her. They basically just tried to get me to tell on her. But to me, it wasn't as significant because I just wasn't trying to be like, oh, yeah, it was her and point all the fingers when at the end of the day, like, we carried it out. Regardless if it was her idea, we didn't have to take it and run with it. We carried it out, you know? So they didn't have enough evidence. Like, yes, they knew, and they like, yeah, we know, but they basically needed someone to say, like, yeah, she said it, and I never said it.
Okay. Now, at this point, were you being a woman in love and being loyal to the gentleman who basically just threw your life away because he involved you in his plot to go do whatever he was attempting to do?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Now, in court, you were offered a plea deal. Am I right? Am I wrong?
You're right.
Okay. Tell me what happened with the plea deal situation.
They offered me 3 plea deals. One was 21 years, one was 18 years, and one was 15 years. I accepted the 15 years, and on the way down to downtown to court, as soon as I met with my attorney, I told him never mind, and I asked him if they could give me 10 years, I would do it, but 15 still seemed like a lot, being that it was my first time in trouble, being that I didn't pull the trigger, being that a lot of things played a factor. He said they were going to laugh at me, and I told him, like, well, if they don't give me 10, then we can take it to the box because you basically want me to tell everything that my co-defendant may have been involved in, also tell on his mom. You want me to put all this footwork, and you know my part, but yet you're not trying to meet me halfway either.
Now, with that being said, I'm going to tell you how the law pretty much works with it, right? Mm-hmm. They took this to Mr. Kaluza first, right? And Mr. Kaluza had to okay it and agree with the plea deal. And he did. And he, 9 times out of 10, he did because he wanted the mother as well. Okay. So by you turning, and they wasn't going to give you anything less because that was a very high profile crime.
Absolutely, it was.
It was all over the media, and you guys pretty much to say a change of venue should have been thrown on the table, because you guys you wouldn't have gotten a fair trial there, because everybody is looking like, well, she played a key part in this, so now
Yep.
we have to charge her the same way we're going to charge him, since she doesn't want to play ball with us.
Absolutely.
Now, Dick, your co-defendant, did he know about the plea deal that was thrown on the table to you?
Yes, you know.
And what was his demeanor to it, or what was his say? Did he get message back to you or anything? Don't do it. What was it? What was it like for him?
No, he didn't tell me don't do it. He just seemed pissed that didn't nobody offer him one.
Well, he shot a man cold-blooded in the neck, and there was witnesses that saw him do it. So why would they offer him a plea deal when he was thrown on? He got witness. There was witness there, and witness did come to testify at what they saw, and that he shot the man and waved you on to go on. So everybody, of course, you started to cause the accident, but you did not
This
pull the
call
trigger.
is originating from an Ohio correctional facility and may be recorded and monitored.
But you didn't pull the trigger. So he shouldn't have been mad. Now, let me tell you what I would have done if, first of all, I wouldn't have put you in that predicament. You don't put a woman in that predicament at all. In prison, there's guys that do put women in predicaments, but I've talked to guys, and they would be like, hey, it was my idea to set this up. I told her in advance that, hey, if anything goes sour, go wrong, you tell them that I threatened your mother to kill your mother and your kids. And when they bring it to me, I'm going to also say, yeah, I did that. I threatened her mother and her kids, And bam, and the woman would get off because that was a threat that was made. So by him, he should have just said, look, got word to your attorney, through his attorney, tell her to take this plea deal, go on and live her life. I screwed up. That would have been the manly thing for him to do. But the real man thing for him to have done, because you were a mother, you were thinking as a mother because you were getting ready to be homeless, and you was desperate because you didn't want your child or yourself living in a car. So pretty much, hey, okay, I'm in, because your motherly instincts kicked in at this point in time. So he should have not even involved you in it. He, as a man, he's supposed to have went out and got that bread and came to you and said, here we go. Let's go get us a place. That's just my opinion on it as a man.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now we're not gonna bash your co-defendant, because he's not here to defend.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that.
Defend him. So look, actually, see, you so nice. You like, oh, thank you. Don't do that, right? So that lets you know that you have a compassionate heart, and you just taking whatever your part is. That's all you want to acknowledge. So we're gonna do that.
Absolutely.
And keep it moving. Okay. Mr. Kaluza passed away on Thursday, April 9th, 2015 at 4:30 p.m. And his wife, Lisa Kaluza, passed in February of 2013. Before this situation, did you know who Joseph Kaluza was?
No, I did not.
Never even met the man, never saw him a day in your life.
No, I did not.
So during the rehearsals and the surveillance, Mr. Helms is the one who knew who he was and knew what he looked like.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, see, I'm just asking because I want my audience to have a clear picture here of who got this set in motion. This is what I want my audience to see. I want my audience to see that. And that's something I always do in any crime. I let my audience see what was each person's role and who was the main starter of getting this in the play. Okay.